Hi, my name is Margaret Johnson. I'm a Canadian independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Thanks for joining me today. Today I wish to share with you designer series paper and how you can quickly and easily use it. I don't know about you, but if you're anything like me, I love designer series paper. I love the patterns, the colors, some that have the textures. My problem is I love them so much, I don't want to use them. It's like, oh, if I cut them up, it's just going to be destroyed. So needless to say, they go on my shelf, and before I know it, the paper's no longer available, which means I can't sell it to my customers anymore. So for me, I have this big stash on the wall behind me, and I really need to use it up. So while I'm showing you current DSP, I do this a lot with my retired designer series paper. So I've created a Christmas card here. It's a little bit non-traditional in its color selection, as you can see. I'm using the new in color Berry Burst for this. And I've paired it up with the designer series paper Merry Music Specialty designer series paper. So this paper is a little bit thinner than the other one, so you get a little more sheets of cardstock in the package, or paper I should say, in the package, being a specialty. And as you can tell, not only has notes, but it has, you know, the lyrics to the different songs, like Silent Night. The package, comes with lots of different papers, so you can see there's white with music notes. This one is Jingle Bells. We have, let's see, Cantique de Noël. We have ones with just music notes on it. There's a variety in this package, and it really is a great value. I love music notes, and with the fact that it has actual music, Christmas songs, makes this really fun paper. So let's just get that out of the way. So as you can tell, I've kind of made it mostly monochromatic with just the Berry Burst. You've got basic black and whisper white to complete this card, and the inside is finished with whisper white, so it's easy to write on and see. This is my husband's biggest complaint when I make cards. He loves my cards. He'll pick one off my shelf to use for something. He'll pull it out, he'll open it up, and he'll go, ugh, the cardstock is so dark, I can't write on it. Nobody's going to be able to see what it says. So hence why I've started putting white on the inside to fix that problem. So let's get to it. This is really fast and easy. This is one of the reasons why I love using the designer series paper, is it creates such a focal point without having to do an excessive amount of work to create a beautiful card. So the first things we're going to need are our Berry Burst cardstock. This has been cut from an 8.5 by 11, and it's cut at the 5.5 inch. Oh, that's the wrong piece of paper. I was looking at it going, man, that's small. Okay, let me grab the right piece of paper here. That's my scrap piece. I layered everything on top of it. Okay, there we go. That's better. So 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, scored in the center at 4.25. So we're going to go ahead and just fold this in half. I do have it scored, but sometimes you don't score it 100% perfect, so I just like to take my bone folder. I measured up along those edges, and then I just flatten out my crease. Here's our piece for the inside. It is cut, the Whisper White is cut at 4 inches by 5.25. So when you mat it on the inside, it's just going to leave a nice space around the edges. You can go ahead and attach this right away. There's no problem there. So I'm using my snail adhesive for this, just like a Correct-It roller, nice and easy to use. And just line that up. Usually what I do is I try and line up 3 sides. Once I see that 3 edges are equal, pretty much guaranteed the 4th edge is going to be equal. So we have that done. Now we're going to take our Silent Night designer paper here, and we are going to take our Berry Burst finely woven ribbon. This is really light. It's not too fine, but it's a light ribbon, and it's really easy to tie into a bow. I like to leave my ribbon on the roll until I have it tied. That way I know I'm not wasting any ribbon. Maybe it's the Dutch in me, as you know, my husband would probably say that's what it is. Trying not to waste, but what can I say? Now you don't have to be precisely in the area that you want your bow. You can do it anywhere and then shift it over. So we're just gonna get this bow done, and they're always fun. My customers always yell at me. They don't really yell at me, but they do say, oh, really, another bow? You just had to create a project with a bow? I can't help it. They have to learn sometime, right? It's not that hard once you get the hang of it. I learned by a fluke when I was making mass amount of cards one year. And pardon me while I struggle with my nails. Oh, that's just not coming through nicely. I learned when I was doing a massive amount of cards one year, and I was doing a ribbon with a bow, and I got to the point where I was just mindlessly tying the bows, and all of a sudden I realized my bows were actually turning out perfectly, and I thought, what am I doing? How did this happen? And I had to pay attention to what I was doing, and that's when I learned. One of these days I will do up a close-up video to show you. From far away it might be a little hard to see, and I might have to go on an angle to show you properly. So we've got our bow created. You can create your little loops here as big or as small as you wish. Grab our scissors. I'm going to trim that end properly. Trim that end. Alright. Now I don't want it in the center. So what I do is I just fold my cardstock so it's kind of bubbled, and that loosens it off around the edges, and then I can just slide it into position. Oh, I think I went a little too far. There we go. That should be good right there. So we'll get this out of our way. Now I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to go on to our stamping and die cutting. So I've used thick white cardstock for this, just because it shows up a little bit better, using our Berry Burst ink pad. Ink up our Wishing You a Sweet Season, and this comes from the stamp set Oh What Fun. This is great for tags, but for this card, for this project, we're using it on a card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut that using my layering circles and the stitch shapes. Those two layer nicely together. So bear with me a moment while I die cut that. I'll be right back. So you'll recall at the beginning of the video I showed you the wrong piece of paper, and that was the scrap cardstock I was using to die cut my stitch shape using the circle here. And here is the Wishing You a Sweet Season, and that was die cut using the layering circles. So that's these two packages here, layering circles framelits dies and the stitch shape framelits dies. So you just have to find the right circle, the right sizes to match up and pair together to create your layers for these. So let's get these excess pieces out of the way. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this to my card front. Again, using snail. Get our card in here. Again, this is also cut 4 inches by 5 1/4, same as the white cardstock on the inside. So I'm going to have the same mat around this that I did on the piece on the inside. So layer that down. So that's good to go. Now sometimes you've got your ribbon and it'll move on you. Now I'm just going to attach this, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this piece underneath the ribbon, while this piece is going to get popped up and layer over top of the ribbon. So we'll go ahead, put the snail on the back of that, tuck it in behind just so it's hidden, just not that it pops out the bottom here, but just behind there and a little bit of space here. And then what I like to do is the ribbon tends to pop up, curl a little bit. So I take my mini glue dots And I just use my scissors to pick one up. It's really hard to see. Oh, you can see it at that angle there. Pick up the glue dot, and I just tuck it in underneath the ribbon. And it'll hold it in place so it won't shift around on you. Then I'm going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm just going to use 3. Get that off of there. And I'm going to make sure I put 2 near the top and 1 near the center, but not all the way down because we're layering over our ribbon, so I don't necessarily want it attached to the ribbon. And then if you put a crease in your Stampin' Dimensional, it usually raises up the edges, and then you can get those paper backing, the film off fairly easy. And then we're just going to slide that over top, layer it, and make sure it's straight. And voila! You have a simple, quick, easy Christmas card created using the Designer Series paper as your focal point and just a simple greeting. Hopefully that helps give you some ideas on cards that you can create, whether it's Christmas, whether it's thank you. But like I said, this is a great way to use up your Designer Series paper in a flash. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.